The movie begins by showing a guy named Michael, who is a famous bodyguard. He's always hired by important people worldwide because he's really good at his job. Michael lives in a super fancy house, thanks to his high-paying gigs. Living with him in that luxurious house is his girlfriend, Amelia, who happens to work for Interpol. She's a smart and capable lady. One day, Michael gets a job to escort a wealthy Japanese businessman named Takashi Kurosawa. It's a routine task, just taking Takashi to the airport. Michael does this kind of thing all the time. When they reach the airport, Michael stays with Takashi until he boards his private plane. But then, something terrible happens. Takashi gets shot while on the plane. It's a shocking moment for Michael, because this is the first time he's ever failed to protect someone. He's left feeling thoughtful and troubled about what went wrong. 2 years pass, and things have changed for Michael. After his previous failure, his career as a high-class bodyguard has taken a hit. Now he only works as a bodyguard for the lower middle class. Despite this setback, Michael's skills in dealing with enemies are still top-notch. Now the scene shifts to Russia, where we're introduced to a notorious former president named Dukovich. He's visiting the house of a professor who used to strongly oppose his rule when he was the president. Since the professor has been a vocal critic of Dukovich and challenged his authority, the ruthless former president takes a drastic step. Right in front of the professor's eyes, he mercilessly kills the professor's son and wife. It's a brutal warning to make the professor stay away from any opposition to Dukovich. To make matters worse, the professor has been openly complaining about Dukovich's crimes during his time as president in the International Court. A few days later, the determined professor still couldn't accept what Dukovich had done. He was resolute in his mission to bring Dukovich to the International Court in the Netherlands. Outside the courthouse, a large crowd gathered, all demanding Dukovich's arrest and the death penalty for his actions. Inside the courtroom, the professor was visibly upset and crying. He knew he might lose the trial because there were no eyewitnesses to testify against Dukovich. It was a tough situation. However, the judge decided to temporarily suspend the trial, granting the professor more time to find witnesses who would testify about all of Dukovich's crimes. The scene shifts to England, where we meet a prisoner named Darius. He's an important witness to the crimes committed by Dukovich, the former Russian president. Interestingly, Darius is not just an ordinary prisoner. He's actually a highly skilled professional hitman who was once hired by Dukovich himself. The Interpol officials, who happen to be good friends of the professor, come up with a plan. They approach Darius and offer him a deal. If he agrees to be a witness in court and testify against Dukovich, they will release his wife, who is also imprisoned in the Netherlands. It's a tough decision for Darius because if he refuses, neither he nor his wife will ever be set free. After much contemplation, Darius eventually agrees to the Interpol officials' request. He decides to be a witness and play a crucial role in bringing Dukovich to justice. It's a risky move, but he's willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. In the next scenes, we see Michael's girlfriend, Amelia, who has been given the task by her boss to escort Darius to the Netherlands immediately. Amelia and her team set out with Darius to make their way to the Netherlands. However, during the journey, they come under attack. The attackers turn out to be Dukovich's men, sent to eliminate Darius so that he won't be able to testify at the trial. In the midst of the intense battle, Darius manages to free himself from the handcuffs and joins in the fight to support Amelia's team. Unfortunately, he gets shot in the leg during the skirmish. However, Amelia quickly gets him to safety in a nearby safe house. At the safe house, Amelia receives a call from Interpol officials, but Darius urges her not to answer it. He suspects that one of the Interpol members might be betraying them by siding with Dukovich. Instead, Darius advises Amelia to seek help from someone outside of Interpol's influence. It's then that Amelia remembers her ex-boyfriend, Michael, who might be able to assist them. The only problem is that Amelia and Michael broke up 2 years ago, so she feels unsure about reaching out to him. Despite the past, Amelia realizes that Michael might be their best shot at getting help in this critical situation. She knows he's skilled and trustworthy, and desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, Amelia must make a tough decision about contacting her ex-boyfriend, knowing that their history could make things complicated. In the end, Amelia musters the courage to contact Michael and asks for his help. She lets him know that if he refuses, she will report him as an illegal bodyguard, revealing that he has been operating without proper authorization. But she also presents a tempting offer. If Michael agrees to help and successfully delivers Darius to the Netherlands, his declining bodyguard status will be restored and he'll have the opportunity to work for important clients again. Michael agrees to assist Amelia, understanding the gravity of the situation and the potential benefits of helping Darius. He rushes to Amelia's location without hesitation. On the other hand, Darius manages to contact his wife and tells her the good news that she will soon be released from prison. When Michael enters the room, he immediately confronts Amelia about their breakup. He accuses her of being involved in the murder of Takashi Kurosawa at the beginning of the film. However, Amelia vehemently denies any involvement and insists that she had nothing to do with it. Despite her denial, the accusations were enough to strain their relationship, leading to their breakup. Entering the room, Michael comes face to face with Darius. He is utterly shocked to discover that the person he was supposed to help is none other than Darius himself. Immediately, they engage in a heated confrontation. It becomes clear that Michael and Darius are enemies, and in the past, Michael had always been the bodyguard assigned to protect all of Darius's targets, successfully foiling his plans. During the intense fight, Darius's injured leg worsens, and it becomes evident that he is at a disadvantage. Eventually, Michael gains the upper hand and emerges victorious in the battle. The scene shifts to the Netherlands, where Amelia's boss at Interpol is shown visiting Dukovic. It's revealed that the traitor within Interpol is none other than Amelia's own boss, who had previously sent her to the Netherlands. The boss intends to collect the money that Dukovic had promised in exchange for the information he leaked. However, instead of receiving the payment, Dukovic viciously stabs the boss's hand. Furious that Darius is still alive, Dukovic demands that the boss capture Darius immediately and get rid of him. Dukovic threatens the boss, saying that if he fails to eliminate Darius, he himself will suffer the consequences. After getting his wounded arm treated, the boss contacts his partner at Interpol, presumably to discuss how to proceed with Darius's capture. The superior overhears his subordinates discussing the current whereabouts of Darius and Amelia, who are hiding in the safe house. Recognizing the significance of this information, the boss wastes no time and immediately contacts Dukovic. He divulges the location of Darius to Dukovic, providing him with the valuable information he needs to track down his target. This betrayal by the boss puts Darius and Amelia in grave danger, as Dukovic now knows their location. Back with Darius, he has just become aware of the outcome of his previous fight with Michael. As Michael opens the window, they see that corrupt Interpol agents hired by Dukovic are surrounding the building. Darius and Michael realize they must join forces to fight them off. Meanwhile, Amelia heads to headquarters to share all the crucial information. With too many enemies to face, Darius and Michael decide to make a daring escape by going to the top of the building. Once there, Darius chooses to take a leap off the building, while Michael opts for a slower descent. Afterward, they quickly get into a car and leave the scene, making their way to the Netherlands. During the drive, Michael asks Darius how he got captured. Darius reveals that it was all because of a woman. While he was on a mission to assassinate someone, he received news that his wife was seriously ill. Worried and desperate, Darius flew to Mexico to be with her. However, it was a trap set up by Interpol to capture him. Held at gunpoint, Darius couldn't escape and was detained along with his wife ever since. When they spend time together during the journey, it seems like Darius and Michael are starting to get along better and are trying to put their past disagreements behind them. The situation has brought them closer together as they navigate through these life-threatening circumstances. Later, Darius asks Michael to pull over for a moment because he needs to urinate. As they were about to resume their journey, they were suddenly ambushed by Dukovic's men and the corrupt Interpol agents who had managed to track them down. Despite the surprise attack, Darius and Michael fought back fiercely, managing to defeat all their assailants. However, their car got hit in the fuel section during the shootout and exploded, leaving them without a vehicle. Desperate to continue, Michael planned to use the car belonging to Dukovich's men, but it also got destroyed by a spark from their previous car explosion. With no other choice, they had to proceed on foot and hoped to hitch a ride from a passing car on the road. Eventually, in the morning, Darius and Michael reached the port dock where they planned to travel to the Netherlands by sea. Their long journey has brought them to their destination. They arrive in the Netherlands, and Michael decides to take Darius to his old house for a much-needed short break. A few hours later, Darius is seen buying flowers, while Michael stays vigilant from a distance, wearing a helmet to protect Darius discreetly. Unbeknownst to them, Dukovich's men have already discovered Darius's whereabouts and are planning to kill him. Michael is aware of the danger and takes out some of Dukovich's men to keep Darius safe. He continues to protect Darius from behind, ready to intervene if needed. Darius purchases his wife's favorite flower and heads to the top of a building. He places the flower there intentionally so that it faces his wife's holding cell. This gesture is meant to let his wife see the flower from her cell, expressing his love and hope that she'll be released soon. After their encounter on the rooftop, Darius asks Michael why he broke up with Amelia. Michael explains that he believed Amelia was involved in the shooting of Takashi Kurosawa, which caused his reputation as a top-class bodyguard to suffer. He felt betrayed, and as a result, important clients stopped hiring him. However, Darius bursts into laughter upon hearing Michael's explanation. He reveals that he was the one who shot Takashi Kurosawa, not Amelia. Amelia had absolutely nothing to do with it. Learning the truth, Michael becomes confused and realizes that he wrongly accused Amelia, leading to the breakdown of their relationship. Feeling upset and angry, Michael punches Darius and storms off. He drowns his sorrows in alcohol, while venting his frustrations incoherently. As Darius tries to approach Michael to talk, Dukovich's men suddenly attack him. Michael, still angry with Darius, doesn't intervene and leaves him to face the attackers alone, even though the battle is happening right behind him. In that moment, Michael is reminded of Amelia, and he doesn't want her to be disappointed in him for the second time. He realizes he can't abandon Darius and reluctantly decides to help him, despite his lingering anger. When Darius flees from the overwhelming number of Dukovich's men, Michael comes to the rescue, using his motorbike to shield Darius from harm. Despite the intense situation, Michael manages to protect Darius and ensure his safety. However, in the process of saving Darius, Michael's identity as his bodyguard is exposed to Dukovich's men. As a result, Michael is captured and taken to their headquarters, where they plan to torture him for information. When the torture is about to begin, Darius makes a dramatic entrance and single-handedly eliminates all of Dukovich's men, saving Michael. With his enemies defeated, Darius helps Michael into a car, and the two continue their journey to the court. During their journey, Michael takes the opportunity to contact Amelia and offers a heartfelt apology for wrongly accusing her. He admits his mistakes and tries to convince her to come back. The tension between them starts to ease as Michael opens up about his regrets. However, their reunion is short-lived as Dukovich's henchmen once again launch an attack. Darius and Michael are forced to split up to face the onslaught of Dukovich's men. They fight valiantly, using their skills to defeat their adversaries. After successfully dealing with the attackers, Darius quickly regroups with Michael, and they proceed towards the court. In court, the trial time is rapidly approaching its conclusion with only 5 minutes remaining. The stakes are incredibly high as Darius must arrive in time. Otherwise, Dukovich may be found not guilty and escape justice. Thankfully, Darius and Michael manage to reach the court just as the trial is about to close, barely making it in time. As Darius takes the stand, Dukovich appears visibly surprised by his sudden arrival and testimony. With a determined voice, Darius begins to lay bare the evils committed by Dukovich. He recounts an unsettling incident when Dukovich had personally invited him to the palace with a sinister request to assassinate his political opponents. Despite the tempting offer, Darius, guided by his conscience, refused the job as he was already burdened with a heavy workload. Darius goes on to reveal an even darker truth about Dukovich's brutal actions. He describes a horrifying massacre of a village whose residents refused to support the former president. This cold-hearted act highlights the extent of Dukovich's cruelty and abuse of power. To substantiate his claims and ensure that justice prevails, Darius presents photographic evidence he had meticulously prepared. As the photos are unveiled, it becomes evident that they contain damning proof of all the crimes committed by Dukovich. As the trial unfolds, Amelia, who is also present in the courtroom, notices her boss unexpectedly leaving. Suspicious of his actions, Amelia decides to follow him discreetly. With determination and skill, she manages to track down her boss and confront him. To her dismay, Amelia discovers that her boss has indeed conspired with Dukovich. Shocked by this revelation and fueled by a sense of justice, Amelia takes action and apprehends her corrupt superior. She ensures that he is taken into custody for his involvement in the sinister plot. Amelia's quick thinking and dedication to the truth play a crucial role in unraveling the conspiracy and bringing those responsible to justice. Her actions further expose the depth of corruption within Interpol and its ties to Dukovich's crimes. In a desperate bid to avoid imprisonment and death sentence, Dukovich resorts to a final drastic measure, disrupting the court building. A large car suddenly arrives, and chaos erupts as a warlike situation unfolds within the court premises. During the mayhem, Michael is shot, gravely injured in the crossfire. At the same time, Dukovich seizes the opportunity to escape and heads to the top of the building, intending to flee via a waiting helicopter. However, Darius is determined not to let him get away with his crimes. A thrilling chase ensues as Darius pursues Dukovich to the rooftop. There he faces a hail of bullets and a powerful explosion, but he continues his relentless pursuit. Dukovich's men, thinking that Darius is dead, gather around the helicopter to evacuate their leader. With only Darius and Dukovich remaining, the final confrontation unfolds. In a moment of intense resolve, Darius takes aim and shoots, putting an end to Dukovich's reign of terror. After Dukovich's downfall, his body lies surrounded by the families of his victims, who express their anger and disgust toward him. Meanwhile, Michael is rescued and receives medical attention for his gunshot wound. As for Darius, he fulfills his part of the deal and willingly returns to imprisonment in an Interpol prison. In return for his cooperation, Interpol keeps their promise and releases Darius' wife from her confinement in a Dutch prison. However, a few weeks later, news breaks out that Darius has managed to escape from prison. Despite being a fugitive, he is seen reunited with his wife, and the two embrace, finally free from the shackles of their previous captivity. The movie concludes with a sense of redemption and justice prevailing. Dukovich's tyranny has been brought to an end, and those who suffered at his hands find closure. Darius and his wife are now reunited, and despite the challenges they faced, they have found a way to be together again. The moral of the story is that when facing evil villains, make sure to have a trusted friend by your side and don't let them escape in helicopters.